Good morning, traders. Here we are, day 81, small cap market open day trading. And I've got my screener open on my laptop. So we are looking for stocks that meet our screener criteria. And if they do, then we pull them up on the chart. I'll show you that screener in just a moment. Let me just give it a quick look here, see if there's anything at the moment. The market just opened about 2 minutes ago, maybe 3 now. And yes, we have VTNR, so we're going to pull that up. All right, so obviously we've been looking at this in the past. There's a bunch of lines on the chart. Let me just get rid of those. Quickest way to get rid of those is click on them with your mouse and click delete on the keyboard. Otherwise, if you're right clicking, that'll take forever. So obviously this is above the 200 MA. Let me take a look at the pre-market high and previous session high. So we need to see it get over 1236 before we could even consider trading it. So we'll go ahead and put a line up there. See if I can get it right at 1236. If not, it's okay. There we go. Good. All right. Next, MARA, M-A-R-A. Let's go back to the daily chart. All right, so this one's trading below the 200 MA, so no good there. I'm going to reject that immediately. SPCE, that one is only up 2%. I'll show you all this stuff on the screener in just a second, but let's go through the list because today there's actually quite a few stocks. Yesterday everything was red. Let's keep going here. So we've gone through all of the stocks that meet our screener criteria at this point. There are a couple more that meet our percent change criteria but not our volume criteria, but they're climbing. So I'm just going to pull them up just to see how their daily chart looks to see if we can reject them or if we need to keep an eye on them. So we can reject BCRX and AUPH. Same thing, we can reject that. I'm going to give my screener a restart on my laptop and just double check, and then I'll show you the screener here so you can see what I'm looking at. Now I know I don't have to worry about what VTNR is doing because even though I'm on the daily chart, I can see the current price is 11.02 right now. It's dropping. So we're nowhere near getting triggered into a trade or anything there. And in fact, I'm going to open up just the one chart and then go back here. That way it gets rid of that AUPH that we're not interested in. Okay, everything, it looks like we are all caught up, I believe. Yeah, so let's take a look at the screener together. So I organized the list by volume, and I'm only interested in the highest volume stocks. So there you see VTNR, MARA, Riot, we looked at that. SPCE is nowhere near the 5% threshold, but I know this one's below the 200 MA in the daily. That one's been falling for a while. TINV doesn't meet our percent change criteria. Same thing with IONQ. So, I just worked down the list, and whatever we looked at BCRX, but it did not meet the daily chart criteria. Same with AUPH. So, and now all of these are below the 500,000 share threshold. Really, it's just here and up that meets that threshold, but some of these could climb, so I was checking to see how they looked on the daily chart. So anyway, let's go back to, actually, let's see. Yeah, let's go back to the chart page here. See what VTNR is doing. So yeah, it's still falling. So I'm going to put the screener back up, and we'll see if anything else kind of pops up. Make sure it's refreshed. And I'm going to mute for now, and I'll be back as soon as there's something interesting. All right, so DHT is getting very close to meeting our screener criteria. It's on its way. It's obviously going to get there eventually, so I'm going to pull it up on the daily chart and just see where it is as of right now. So let's do that. DHT, we're on the daily, so it's underneath the 200 MA. So the only thing we can do at this point is put a line where the 200 MA is. Let's see if we got it. I think so, 575, and I like to make that line purple so I know what it's for. And let's look at the pre-market and aftermarket and see what it did. Yeah, so it's got a ways to go. I think, what was it, 575, the 200 MA? Yeah, so I can fix that here. Okay, so back to the screener, see if there's anything else. I'll just do this to reset the screener, refresh it. So the easy way to kind of go through these quickly instead of just going in order like you might have seen me just doing there is just to look at the percent change, because most of them are not going to meet the percent change requirement, but most of them are going to meet the volume requirement. So instead of going down looking through the volume, just look at the percent change, and then you only have to look at the ones that are up above 5%. And we've checked most of these at the top. Here's 7 point, we checked that one. 14, that's AUPH, we looked at that one. 10.5, that's the one we just looked at, DHT. Here's 31, AHCO, and it's very close to our volume requirement, so we definitely need to check that one. So let's go back to the chart, AHCO. And this one is below the 200 MA. It's moving a lot though, so there is a chance. I mean, it has to go nearly 100% to get over that daily, but you never know with these small caps. There could be some huge moves. So I'm going to go ahead and put a line to represent where the 200 MA is. 2064. Let's take a look at it on the 5-minute chart. So it's already halfway there, but still it's got a ways to go. So let's see if we can get that right where we want it. So when you're on these little charts, the resolution is kind of such that it's harder to move cent by cent depending on the price range of the stock. So you can get them close, but what we could do is just set this to 4 charts. Oh, and that one disappeared because it was on that, it was off to the side. I should have known that was going to happen. Let's see, which was that, AHCO. All right, so we wanted 2064. There we go. Back to the screener, see if anything else has popped up. Sky H. It looks like the one we're just looking at is off the screener now, maybe because of a market cap situation. That's probably what happened, but we'll look into that later. For now, let's check out Sky H, and then also we can look at LPSN since it's getting close to our volume requirement. Sky H and LPSN. Lots of lines there. Okay, kind of the same thing there. LPSN. This one definitely could be rejected. There's no way it's going to get up above that 200 MA today. This one might, so we'll go ahead and throw a purple line out. Now what happens often is these stocks will go to the 200 MA and hit resistance and then kind of bounce down off of the 200 MA. So I don't do anything until they break out above that and then give me some confirmation that they're going to stay above. Let's see, where was it at? 1118. Let's go back to the 4 chart view because we don't need LPSN. All right, that's enough of that. So once we get it on the big chart, if we ever need to, then it'll be easy to put that exactly where we want it, but that's close enough for now. So DHT is getting close to the 200 MA. That's the closest one that we're to taking a trade on, but still nothing is really close to to triggering a trade for us. So I'm just going to keep checking the screener. Just looking at it on my laptop here. Yeah, we're all caught up as far as the screener goes. So let's go back to the screener page. Yeah, in fact, let's see, what was the one that looks like it disappeared? AHCO. Yeah, that one is gone now, so I'm going to have to remove that, but let's see why. Yeah, so it went over the market cap of a small cap stock. The range of a small cap stock is $300 million to $2 billion, and it's now $2.04 billion. So it's no longer technically a small cap stock. So if I took a trade on it, then, excuse me, if I took a trade on it, I would be breaking my plan basically. The statistic that I would gather from that, whether it would be a win or a loss, wouldn't matter, wouldn't tell me anything about trading small cap stocks. So there's absolutely no reason to keep it on the list here. So I think the easiest way to get rid of it, we're going to have to pull Sky H back up. Not a big deal. We'll just put up 2 charts here and then go back to the 9 chart view. We'll get Sky H back. There we go. And go back to the screener, and we'll leave this up, and I'll mute for now, and I'll come back as soon as something interesting happens. All right, so one thing we've got to do on a stock like DHT that is getting close to breaking over that 200 MA, we have to see, did it give us our setup and did it trigger an entry before breaking over that 200 MA? If that's the case, then we can't trade it. So we have to look at it on the 1 minute chart, and it looks like it probably did. So we're probably going to have to reject this one. So first of all, we're looking for it to break through the pre-market high. It did that. Yeah, it definitely gave us our setup well before being over the 200 MA. So this one's going to be a no-go. Actually, yeah, so if we kind of just pretend that all of this happened above the 200 MA, our first entry, which we know fails 75% of the time, would have been right after the break of this red candle, because this is where the second high of day is, and then it pulled back on that exact same candle and closed here. So as soon as a 1 minute candle makes a new high after a pullback, even if it's only one candle, we have to get in. So we would have been forced to take a trade right here at 558 and place our stop loss just below this red candle. And it was close to working, but it did get stopped out, and that's what we expect, at least statistically. That one we would have been stopped out on that trade, and we would have gotten right back in here with our stop loss down here. And that trade, not sure if that went to 2R yet, and definitely didn't go to 3R, because let's see, the ideal entry would be 553, the stop loss would be 545. $569 would be 2R, which I don't think it's done yet, but it probably will. It definitely didn't go to 3R yet, but again, it might. It's going kind of straight up here. But anyway, the whole point is all of this happened below the 200 MA, and therefore we can't trade it. So it's just part of the rules. It's part of the plan. If I took a trade on this thing, then the results again would be meaningless, because it's not following the strategy. It's not following the trading plan. And all we care about is how well does the trading plan work. That's what we're doing right now, is we're collecting statistics on that. So far we've taken 90 trades. We just need 10 more, but they must meet our trading plan criteria and strategy. Otherwise, what's the point? So let's go back to the screener and see if anything has changed. AHCO, I think that's the one that, yeah, so it's kind of falling in and out of the small cap range. Let me see if we take a look at that one, what it looks like now. Yeah, so this one is definitely going to be a no trade for us, because in order for it to get back up to this 200 MA, it's going to have to gain a lot of market capitalization. I have no idea how much it'll be, but I'm going to guess that by the time it gets above this level, it'll probably be around 2.5 billion or something like that. So way away from our small cap range at that point. So we just have to ignore that one. So let's do, yeah, we're going to have to pull SkyH back up. No, actually I can do this, and there we go, got rid of it. So that's AHCO, so we know we need to just ignore that one. Those we've checked. DHT we looked at, FOLD, I don't think we've checked that one yet. Let me just make sure that's actually on the first page of my laptop screener as well. So it is not on the first page of the laptop screener, so it needs to get more volume before we can actually take a trade on it. Again, that may seem arbitrary, but it's not. It's one of the strict criteria written into my trading plan and strategy. The lowest stock right now on my laptop screener is STEM, and the reason why that matters is because of relative volume, and I mean relative volume relative to the other stocks that are trading today. So these are all the only stocks that we're looking at as far as volume is concerned. Anything below that is too low volume relative to the other stocks as far as I'm concerned. So you have to draw the line somewhere. Yes, it is possible that a stock here or even on the second page, if we scroll this down, that one of these stocks may give us a 2 or 3 hour trade, but it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to keep an eye on that many stocks in one morning, especially when the real small cap energy comes back, which it eventually will. It's very difficult. So you have to draw the line somewhere. You have to have boundaries within your trading strategy and trading plan. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to reproduce your results in the long term, and that's what we care about. So that is one of our limits, is whatever's on the first page, and actually now PACB is on the first page. So FOLD will have to gain some volume in order for us to pull it up on the chart page. So we'll just keep an eye out here on the screener, and I'm going to mute for now. We still have about 29 minutes left of trading or watching for a trade. All right, so one thing you may have noticed is DHT is below. So this marks out, actually right here, marks out the first page of my screener, and DHT is below it. Yeah, it might pop back up over that. We can always bring it back up on the chart or something like that, but just to kind of make the point that we only want to be trading things on the first page, we're going to remove that for now. We can always put it back if it does come back up volume wise. So there's DHT. And that one was the one that was closest to triggering a trade, but it's now nowhere near the 200 MA. It was getting up. Well, sorry, that one was the one that we just looked at, I believe, to show. Confusing myself here, to show that we have to ignore it. So I just forgot to remove that from the chart. Anyway, let's do that, and we can move on here. So I'm going to pull up just the one chart, and then we'll get SkyH back up. All right, there we go. And let me just look at my screener one more time here while still on the mic. Yeah, it looks pretty much the same. Nothing to pull up. So the bottom of the first page on my laptop is SkyH. And DHT, what I said at the beginning here is that we could always pull it back up, but I didn't realize that was the one that we were just looking at before I muted previous to this, that we said, okay, we can't trade it because it did everything to trigger an entry below the 200 MA. So that's no good for us. And yeah, so that's it. So we're just looking at everything above Sky H, and then if any of these other stocks that are not DHT rise in volume and overtake some of these other stocks, we could pull them up and look at those as well. Like FOLD is really the only one. There's another one down here that's growing in percent change and volume, but it needs to move quite a lot. So anyway, again, we've got about 24 minutes to go now, so just keep an eye on the screener. It's all we can do. Unfortunately, another kind of slowish day, but not as bad as yesterday. At least we have some stocks to look at. So it is what it is. You know, the market is pretty crazy right now, selling off, and we're looking for small cap momentum, things like that. So anyway, we'll come back when there's something interesting. All right, Fold has come up over Sky H. It's now on the first page. That's really all that matters. Let's take a look at it, see what it looks like on the daily chart first. So it's way below the 200 MA, so nothing we can do with that, unfortunately. May seem frustrating, especially if you're a newer trader, because you have to, look at these stocks and then just realize, okay, I can't take a trade on it. But really, it's all part of trader discipline. If you have a trading plan and a trading system, I mean, if you're trading without any type of a plan or system, and I don't mean it has to be someone else's plan, but you have to develop a plan at some point and strategy, and you have to stick to it. If you don't stick to it, if you start taking trades that are outside of that plan or that strategy, you have no idea what the probability of the trade working out is. So it is, by definition, a gambled trade. That's it. And if you're just saying, well, so and so said that it had a 75% chance of working out, so that's why I took it, how do you know that they know that that trade has a 75% chance of working out? Because I remember being a young trader and watching lots of YouTube videos, reading books, but especially on the YouTube videos, that's where they're kind of notorious for throwing out statistics and probability out of thin air, saying, this setup works out 90% of the time. They have no evidence, they have no proof of that, nothing to back it up. They're just throwing that number out there. Unless they have a spreadsheet and they can show you that, hey, I've taken that setup 100 times or more, and this is the probability that it works out based on those 100 trades, then whatever number they're throwing out there is totally meaningless and totally bogus. So that's what I mean. You have to develop a plan, a strategy, trade it at least 100 times, and then you'll at least have some data as to knowing how often that setup or that strategy is going to actually work. And then you can develop a profit target. It's a little more complicated, but develop a profit target based on that. You have to find out what the probability of that profit target is to get hit, like we're doing with this strategy. We're looking at 2R and 3R, which means 3 times our risk. And we know that the break-even win rate is 25% for 3 times our risk. So anything above that is profitable. And that's how you'll know if your strategy actually works or not. Does that 3R target get hit often enough to be profitable? Something like that. So it's not just about, does the trade end up green? How green is it? And is it green enough to kind of counterbalance your win rate? So anyway, yeah, I mean, anyone can develop a high win rate strategy if you start taking profits very early, but it's not sustainable because almost always those strategies have large stop losses. So it takes 10 wins to cancel out 1 loss or something like that. So it's just not realistic. So anyway, let's just look at the screener here. So I was looking at quadruple U earlier, it was over 3%, and I was thinking maybe it'll get up over 5%, but nope, not happening. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. And Fold, we know, is below the 200 MA on the daily. And let me refresh my laptop screener to see where I think Fold is now the bottom of the first page. Yes. So this is pretty much as low as we can go right now. Anything else down here, stock-wise, we'll have to move up in volume in order for us to look at it. So yeah, I think we've gone through everything. So yeah, another slow day, unfortunately. I know these are kind of boring videos, but it is what it is. I can't control the stock market, and I have to stick to my plan, to my strategy. I can't just go looking for anything, some micro cap or nano cap that's moving and try to take a trade, because the result of that trade is going to be absolutely meaningless. And we're trying to get to 100 trades testing this strategy, so we know just how profitable it is or any changes that need to be made, things like that. So I'm going to mute for now. We've got about 15 minutes left here. So I'm going to keep an eye on things till about 10:30, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video because it looks like there's absolutely no chance of a trade. But again, I will continue to watch till 10:30, and I will update anyone if there has been a trade. What I'm going to do in these live videos, since there's no edits, because I want you to see everything that I do from 9:30 to 10:30, I'm going to do like a wrap-up segment and summary at the end of all the videos so that in the future you guys can just scroll to the end of the video, listen to the summary, and decide whether or not you want to scroll back and watch, because I know there's a lot of dead air. There's a lot of time seemingly wasted here during these videos, but it's not really a waste because this is what we have to do to be diligent, disciplined traders and to trade our plan and trade our strategy. Otherwise, what are we doing here? Then we're really wasting time. So at least we know every time we take a trade, we're sticking to our plan, we're sticking to our strategy, and the results of those trades actually mean something. So doing my best here to try to get into trades, but they have to meet our strategy, they have to meet our plan, and we only need 10 more and we'll be able to finish up this plan. So it's already 2 days into the week and so far no trades. That's bound to change. I don't think I've ever had a week where there's been no trades all week where I've traded 5 days a week. So, you know, I'd be shocked if tomorrow is another no trade day or if the rest of the week is no trade day. So just going to keep coming back and looking for things that meet our strategy and our criteria and try to get some trades in this week. So as always, so I guess as far as the summary goes, let me try to give you the summary. Yeah, there were no trades through this entire video. We were watching the screener. We pulled up some stocks on the daily chart. I could show you those, the ones that are still there. We had VTNR, and you can see that it never broke out through its previous high. This is the daily chart, and all it's done all day is pretty much go down. And then Sky H we were looking at, but it never broke out above its 200 MA, so it's just kind of floating way down here. Again, this is the daily chart. So if nothing meets our screener criteria and chart criteria, then there's no trades to take, and it's as simple as that. So if you have any questions about this or about the trading plan or the strategy, let me know in the comment section below and I'll get back to you. As always, go into every single trade with a plan. Stick to that plan no matter what. Always take your stop losses, honor your profit target, and in the long run, you should be green. Take care.